Food markets only.
Meet Susie Smart, she is so bright. On her blackboard you can write. She has a desk, she has a seat. What's your name, my dolly sweet?
My name is Susie Smart.
She can talk!
She can talk, but can she add?
2 plus 2 is 4. Cat, C-A-T.
You can spell!
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
You recite!
Press the button, she says a dozen things, complete with desk, blackboard, and seat. Susie Smart, sold at food markets only.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. Did you try it? I'm not going to try it. You try it. I'm not going to try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
I want my $2.
Say what?
I want my $2.
Well, you ain't getting it from me. Hi, everybody. It's Susie Q96. Let me see. Got some peoples already. The new Marshall. I'm doing okay. James, I am so sorry, and you know what I'm talking about. I heard while I was sick. I'm really sorry. Hi, William. I got your package ready to go, but I didn't have anywhere to take it to mail it, so it should go out tomorrow. Mike, is that New Hampshire gold prospector? Mikey likes it, he says. Chicken Man Dan. Anybody besides me remember there used to be a radio show back in the late 60s called Chicken Man? It was, I remember they used to have it on WLS in Chicago. It was pretty funny. Doug Harding's in the house. Doug, I'd have a lot more room to work if I didn't have all your stuff laid out on my table right now. But I'm working on it. I'm getting everything figured out and trying to do. That's right. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. That was the slogan for Chicken Man. Anyway, I'm trying to get all of Doug's stuff sorted out where I can mail it in the most expedient and least expensive way possible. Oh, that's who that is. Hi, Daniel Lauren. Been wondering where you and Shell were. Your son still off at college, or is he home for the end of the summer part? And there's Jackalope Herd Master. Oh, I got nothing but guys in here. Got me a whole room full of good-looking men. How cool is that? Woohoo! New Hampshire, but live in Leesburg, Florida. I am well familiar with Leesburg, Florida, having grown up in Orlando, Florida. We used to go fishing a lot up by Leesburg, Mount Dora. Archaeology Mikey, he goes to college in Leesburg. There we go. Now we got a girl in here. Hi, Annette. Let me see what else I got to. The people that I still owe packages to, other than Doug, I've already covered what's going on with Doug's. Most of them had keychains or necklaces in them, and I had to wait for more keychain hardware to arrive, and it got here today, so I should be able to work on those, get the rest of them out. There's so much stuff been going on here Some of it good, some of it not so good. That's what I wanted, a rubber band. So, anyway, it's just been crazy. Some of you haven't seen me for a while, so you don't know about my accident or my second heart surgery. But yeah, I had a little accident about a week after I had my second heart surgery. I had to go up to the eyeglass place to pick up my new glasses. And I don't know why, but the bus driver decided it was appropriate to just stop way out in the middle of the parking lot. I mean, I wasn't even close to the building. And I believe there was something wet on the bottom step of the bus. And because I had my brand new walking shoes on. And, well, he's tarnishing because he is plated with sterling silver, so that's probably why. The chain's 925. The duck is plated with 925. So that doesn't surprise me that he's tarnishing a little. Anyway, back to my accident. So I slipped on the bottom step of the bus and ended up, that old line, you got your head up your butt or your foot up your butt or whatever. Well, I ended up with my foot twisted around underneath me and jammed under the bus door. So I ended up with a sprained ankle and 8 stitches in my arm. And so I haven't really been able to do a whole lot. One of the things I have been doing is I'm going to be selling a bunch of my records. I don't want to. I sold a bunch of my albums several years ago, but I didn't touch my 45 collection. But it's getting real close to moving to Michigan time, and I don't have all the money I need. And there's some records in there they're worth some bucks. So I kind of came to the realization that I really don't play them anymore. And if I really want to hear those songs, I can do them on the internet. And I really need that money. I mean, I have a couple of 45s that are worth $300-400 for one record. And I have some that are worth about 3 cents. Some people would probably have to make me pay them to take. But I've been sitting here with my feet propped up. I've been going through and looking at the records and cleaning the records. And then I discovered that this piece of junk turntable that I have doesn't work anymore. So my brother and I got on the internet, and I'm not getting like a really expensive turntable. I have a really expensive one down in my storage that the movers dropped another box on, and I'm going to see if I can get it repaired once I get to Michigan, because we don't have anybody around here that knows anything about fixing much of any kind of electronics. But anyway, so for the next little while, since I can't really walk around much, I'm cleaning and packaging records and looking them up, and I'm I'm pretty good at getting the proper rating on records, having been a DJ, and I used to sell records before. So if you go back and you look at my really old feedback on eBay, you will see a lot of references to records being sold, and that I gave people good deals, and I gave them records in the condition I said they were in. And so I thought, well, I've still got out a few. How many of you are old enough to remember the storage boxes that 45 records came in, or that you would buy to keep your records in? But each box held approximately 50 records. And I think I have about 15 of those. And then I have a couple of the big plastic tower holders from the 70s that hold like 100 each. So I got a lot of records to go through. But guess what I got? I got quarters. Yeah, I did. They're not car wash quarters. I had to cheat a little bit. They're bankroll quarters. But they were, I haven't looked at them except I had them sorted into different stacks. So we're going to do the car wash quarters books tonight. Haven't visited them for a while. I'm a little weirded out by this one that I've got under the scope right now. He has some unusual qualities. Like it looks like he's wearing a earring here, for one thing. And now that looks like it came from the mint that way. This, I think, is just a scuff from some type of machine. Uh, and over here, it looks like he's drooling. So this George just has he's got some issues. I'm going to have to look at him a little bit better. But this is one of the women's series. It happens to be a Sally Ride quarter, and it does not have the errors on the backside, but I've got to check that out. Let's see what Mikey said. This year I will be making a website on my own that's about my channel, and will have pictures of items I found in the ground and publish a website for everybody to look at. Mikey, that's awesome. I used to, before everything got real crazy in the late 2010s, from 1997 until 2010 when I went in the hospital, I used to run a website for a band called The Outlaws, and it was about the early history of their band. And I wrote all the code, all the HTML, everything on those pages. I would have to go back to school now to do that. But at the time, oh, and I also had 4 or 5 genealogy websites that were part of a program that kind of got pushed out of business by Ancestry. It was an all volunteer genealogy thing called the US Gen Web Project. And that was part of another volunteer project called Roots Web. And I had several pages that I had written all the code on those. And now I am so lost. I have a couple of websites I need to put together, but I tried a couple of those. I call them WYSIWYGs, which is what you see is what you get. Uh, but I can't seem to, the coding has changed, and so I can't seem to get the things where I want them to be on the pages, so I end up very frustrated. So when Mikey gets a little bit better at what he's doing, because this is what he's studying in school, I'm gonna have Mr. Mikey help me. Let him earn his keep around here. Cause yeah, that'd be cool. I can't wait to see it. I remember when Mikey was still a high schooler. Now you're in the second year of college, right? Am I right on that? Oops. Let me go ahead and get my statehood quarter books out here. I got one that only needs 1/4 in it. Oh, third year. See, I've lost track. Yeah, I remember he wasn't even in college, and he was going and looking at colleges. Okay, this one book I have needs Puerto Rico and Guam. And then because we were getting close to finishing that one, I started this other one, and it doesn't have spaces in it for the territories. This one we need just a obverse and a reverse, and we need Illinois, Missouri, Michigan, Minnesota, and then that book is going to be also ready to go out. So that being said, oops, I got to find a container here to put these quarters in. Yeah, I knew you were doing digital media and websites, because I was real excited when I saw that, because I thought, oh, goody, I can get Mikey to help me catch back up with the world. Okay, we don't need the New Hampshire. Let's see what this one is. But yeah, I've got a couple of websites I need to do. That's from the other book where these 3/4 came from. Don't need that one. But yeah, I did get us some quarters this week, and I found a whole jar. Remember when I went through all those pennies, weighing out the 1982s to sort out the copper from the zinc? Well, I found a jar, it's like a mustard jar, with a whole bunch more 82s in it. So I oh yeah, I bet they did, Mikey. I was thinking about that today because I was looking at the news from Pinellas County, which, that's, for those that don't know, is right across the bay from Tampa. Tampa, and that area is on the eastern side of Tampa Bay. And then when you go across the bay, you get to Pinellas County and the Gulf of Mexico, and that's right where the hurricaneable is headed in. So yeah, I was thinking about you guys today, because uh, I have, first of all, I lived in that area for years. I have lots and lots of friends there, and also because my brother is in Central Florida, And the way that hurricane is looking is like it kind of wants to go across the middle of the state. So, oh, here's another Sally ride. I found some more ladies. Well, now see, this has got the thing on the ear too, so that may be a normal thing. Let me see who I got here. Bessie, another one of the ladies. Yeah, I need to get just a stack of those little 5/4 panel things that I put that one set together in and start making little sets of those because I have a number of them that are in really, really good shape. And so I want to put some of those up. And there's a couple I don't have yet that have come out, but I don't have them. Oh, yeah. I used to find Canadian coins all the time at the coin star at my local Walmart because we were very close to Canada, and right by my house. This is only something that'll mean something mostly to Canadian people, but also they have this in Michigan. Right by my house was a Tim Hortons, which is like I call it the Canadian Dunkin' Donuts. But a lot of Canadians that come over onto the Michigan side like to go to Tim Hortons, and our Walmart was like almost right. I'm gonna say maybe half a mile up the street. So they would go in there too, and so sometimes they'd be in motorhomes and stuff, and they'd dump a bunch of change in right before they'd go back to Canada because they didn't want to take the American coins back with them. And they would forget it was going to spit the Canadian money back out and they'd leave it in the tray. So, yeah, I used to find a lot of Canadian pennies, especially. So, no South Carolina needed right now. Oh, excuse me. No Wyoming needed right now. For those of you who don't know, I go back through, excuse me, I go back through these later and look for all the errors and that kind of stuff. But it would take me so long to do it while I was on my show. I it takes me because I don't know those things by heart, which means I have to pull them up on a page and study the errors and then study the coins. So it do take me a bit of time. I was going to call today and find out where I am on the moving list, but I got wrapped up with annual health care assessments and arguing with the company that sends my nurse and my physical therapy guy because they, in order to be eligible for those services, you're supposed to be housebound. Well, I'm trying to think of the way to put this. Um, I pretty much am housebound, but I do have to go out to go to the doctor, and some of my doctors are like 2 hour trips each way. And some of my doctor things I do on the computer, so I don't have to make these 2 hour trips down to North Carolina or up to Roanoke. So they wanted to send a therapist over this morning, and I told the lady, no, I'm sorry. I have 2 appointments this morning and one this afternoon. That's why I don't schedule that kind of stuff on Mondays, because Mondays is when I do my computer appointments and that kind of thing. Well, this lady got all up in my case. Like, I'm supposed to tell her every time I go outside, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works, sweet pea. And she's like, uh, she couldn't understand why I would not cancel those computer appointments. Well, because if I do, I will lose my health insurance, and then nobody, including you, is going to get paid. This lady was just so mean and so rude and so nasty. I almost fired them, but I don't have anybody lined up to take their place. And I like my nurse and I like my therapist. I just don't like the scheduling lady. She's a very nasty person. So my whole day got eaten up with that kind of junk. And so I did not get to make my phone call to or send an email to find out where I am on the housing list yet. So, yeah, that is a pretty good site, Mikey. I think you're the one that gave me the link to that one. But anyway, yeah, I had to deal with a lot. Monday is usually a day where I'm dealing with insurance things and doctor's office things. And just because I don't leave the house to go to the doctor does not mean it is not a doctor's appointment. It's just a doctor's appointment. Now, the one this afternoon, I did have to leave because it was to have blood work done. But why this lady, her interpretation of what housebound means is different than what the actual insurance and everything, because for them it includes uh like if you got to go get groceries, or you need to go get shoes or eyeglasses, or yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, it's like technically I am allowed to go outside and walk around, which means that I can go walk around out here at the park or whatever, because you got to exercise. So anyway, I really got into it with her to the point that my primary care physician called her and told her she was way off, or at least part way off. So I got a hold of my nurse, and she said I'm still on her schedule for tomorrow. So And they wanted me to go out and go to this outside of my house place to do my physical therapy. Well, they're gonna have to buy me a car since I fell off the bus. Bus company doesn't want me to ride the bus, and I am not going to use up my insurance trips for these little local things because I have to use those for the trips that are like 100 miles. I can't waste those, or then I won't be able to get to where I need to be. So we gonna have stuff going on, but if I have to change nursing again, then I will. But the lady finally made me so mad. She said, "Well, if you can't stay in the house all the time, blah blah blah, we're gonna probably dismiss you." And I said, "Go ahead." I said, "I'll file a complaint with the Americans with Disability Act about how, for no reason other than your own pig-headedness, that you chose to withhold medical care from someone with a tumor in their eye and their brain." And she said, "Oh, I didn't know about that." And I said, "Well, maybe if you'd open my file and read it, you'd know." So then she shut up. We needed a Missouri one. We got one. Yay! So I spent my whole day just in just tension. It was not pleasant. And then I almost forgot that I had my show set up. And about 4:30, I was like, "Oh no, what time is it?" Well, I had plenty of time, so I got my din all fixed up and ate, and I had chicken wings. Yeah, these are rolled quarters from the bank, but these were not bank rolled quarters. These were rolled by some person. Are we back? I hope. My power flickered, and when it did, it shut everything down. And I had to completely reboot. So that kind of stunk. Check, check, check. Okay, we should be back now. Blame the cat. No, M3 did not do this. We've been having rain off and on all day, and we had just enough of a power flick to knock me completely off, and I had to wait for the computer to boot back up. Yeah, it's always the cat. No, when I lived in Georgia, it was pretty much always the cat. He doesn't really get where my computer is here. But boy, when I lived in Georgia, actually, he is right behind me now that I happen to turn around and look there. So he could have done it, but I don't think he's guilty this time. I think he's just an innocent bystander on this one. Oh, he used to do that all the time because he would want to get in my lap, and I had my computer and everything was set up in what was supposed to be an area for a washing machine and dryer and that kind of stuff. And it was a pretty good sized room with a lot of shelves in it. And he would manage to find a way to get his little self up there. And pretty much, I'm going to say every other show for a while, he unplugged me. Yeah, he was something. But no, this was our weather. We even had tornado warnings. Well, watch. The warnings were up north of us a ways, but it was supposed to have rain most off and on most of this week. So I was wondering if it was going to knock me off, and it did. It got me. It got me. But my group of trained professionals all know just to hang out and I'll be back. I just tell everybody don't disconnect. Uh, if it goes completely like that, I just have to wait for the machine to reboot. But I'm still usually connected through StreamYard, so we survived another hit. I got two more of these. No, I don't need Indiana. And our last just one. Another Virginia. I was hoping to get my Michigan tonight, but nope, no Michigans. Alrighty, well, we did get one, so we didn't get completely skunked. We got the Missouri one. We still need Puerto Rico and Guam in the other book. But anyway, what I was talking about was uh, I know these were customer rolled quarters. They were not bank rolled. And I know that because they were rolled in First Union Bank quarter rollers, and we don't have a First Union Bank. So obviously, um, somebody messaged me, and I can't remember who right off the top of my head, but somebody that knew you were one of my mods messaged me about that. And then I was not home at the time. I think I was at the hospital. Absolutely, Mikey. All right, let's see what's in here. This is, I think, bicentennial quarters. Let's see what this is up here. I don't know why that's there. Not saving him for anything special. This is one shiny quarter. A 2021D. That thing looks good. Look how nice that is. For a quarter that came out of a customer roll, that's a really nice looking quarter. We're probably, and it's just as nice on the other side. So I think I'm gonna put that one in a little holder because that's a beauty, and it's very, very shiny. Looks really nice. Uh, 2021. It's another. Don't see anything on his hat. Don't see any globulars on his hands, and I always forget what else I'm looking for. That's one of the bad things when I stay offline too long. I forget stuff. But the worst thing about uh, being offline too long is that I lose my view hours. This one's just the opposite. This is a drummer boy, but somebody drummed on this boy one time too many. He looks pretty weak. Here's another really shiny. This one's got a few more little scratches than the other one did. But this one's also pretty nice. I'll put it over there with the first one. Anyway, these were wrapped in First Union Bank wrappers, and we don't have a First Union Bank here. So what I think happened is last week we had the 87th annual Fiddlers Convention, and I think somebody that came to the Fiddlers Convention may have, one of the vendors or something may have cashed in a bunch of rolled change. Sometimes the scope makes them look worse. I've had a couple of coins that really looked bad under the scope, but then when I was just looking at them, they didn't look too bad at all. It just depends on the lighting and how far down I drop the scope, because I can do things like this, where I bring it way down and we are looking at a much closer view of his hat or his hand, and I could still go. I've only got it halfway down right now. I can go where I'm right down almost on top of the coin, where I'm really in on. I'm actually on the coin now. I'm too far down. Let's see, I can come way down here, and I'm like zoomed in where I can look and see if something is doubled. Uh, so I can raise and lower this thing, and seriously zoom in on what may look like something, and then it turns out not to be anything at all. It's just a scratch. But we have our wonderful archaeology Mikey to thank for that, because he bought the stand for the scope, which my other one just had like a gooseneck, and it was not the best on zooming in. Oh, the pooping horse, yep. But this particular scope, it's actually the stand is metal. So if you set it in one of the grooves, it doesn't bend or do anything that's going to distort. It has made so much difference. That was one of the bestest gifts I got for the channel. Now, I had a really crappy microscope, the first one I had. It just wasn't very good. And Handy Andy 736 bought me a microscope because he couldn't read what was on my channel, and neither could I. And then as far as the my cameras, one of them I got because I had to have it for my doctors to do those tele appointment things. And then the other one is just like a really, really cheap one, and I broke it. Yeah, you got this for me right before Christmas, and it's really a good one. I love it. Well, that was the end of those dudes. So now we're gonna look at state parks. Now I have yet to complete a single. I'm in national parks. I have yet to complete a single national park book. So this one that I'm working on is my personal book that I have been trying to fill since 2019. And it's taken a lot of time because this particular album has spaces for both Philadelphia and Denver. And then, of course, I have to check for the W's, the West Points. And I only need one, two, three, four, five. But I've been looking for those five for a long time. I need the 2010 Mount Hood Denver. I need the 2011 Gettysburg Denver. No, Gettysburg Philadelphia. I need. Oh, I can't read. Uh, Chaco Culture Denver 2012. Uh, the American, what is it? American something, Denver. Those are the only ones I need, and I've been trying and trying and trying. And of course, anything with a W on it. Willy Wonka. But yeah, I think these quarters came from somebody uh, who was here for the Fiddlers Convention. Because, like I said, we don't have that particular bank in this area. And a lot of times, people that come to the convention come in their motorhomes and they bring rolls and rolls of quarters to pay uh, tolls and things like that. And we also have a lot of vendors that come from out of town and they accumulate a lot of quarters and they just take them over to our bank and cash them in. So I was able to uh, get somebody that was going downtown to run me by my bank and get a couple rolls. I didn't have much money, but I was like, ooh, can we go to the bank and give me some quarters? Plus, I didn't have any change to do my laundry with. So, yeah, we had to make a little bank run. And my car, I wanted to get out there and try to get it going again, but it's been raining all weekend. And well, yesterday it wasn't raining, but it was about 100 degrees, and I have a sprained ankle, and I didn't feel like messing with it. But uh, if it's not raining tomorrow, I'm gonna try to get out there. One of my acquaintances has one of those devices that you plug into the car and it will diagnose. So he said, just take it and plug it in and then call me and tell me what code comes up. So I think I can handle that. But today was so crazy. Blue Ridge. I'm like a half a mile from the Blue Ridge Parkway. I don't really want that quarter. We're farm. Don't need that, but a W would be good. I haven't seen a W for the longest time. When they first came out, everybody was getting the quarter rolls like crazy. Boy, there's a lot of Blue Ridge in here. And I think they kicked the daylights out of the W's. Because I have not found a W, I'm going to say, since 2021. It'd be nice. I found a silver more recently than I found a W. We found a silver last year. Oh, those who did not watch the Wednesday night sweeping the dirt metal detecting show, let me see. So far, we have given away 2 pinpointers. New Marshall in town got the first one, and William E. got the second one. Williams is going out tomorrow, as soon as I can send Sandy to the post office with it. And I've got a few other little packets that I need to send out. But what we started doing is I had a little poll that I did on the page, the about area of my channel, and I decided I didn't want to carry all the trash that it's been sitting here in plastic bags that I metal detected. I had saved it because I was gonna, ooh, this is in the wrong bag, but we need it in the other book. So, yay, 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 yay. We need to put the Puerto Rico over here, and now all we need in that book is Guam. Anyway, I don't want to carry all that trash with me, and I can't find the SIM card from my camera. So some of those videos are probably never going to get made. So what I decided to do was go through all these bags and only keep the goodies and throw the garbage in the garbage. Mikey, I would check and see if the school board still owns the property. That would be, or even go get a hold of the library and ask them if they know who owns the property. That would be how I would approach it. See if the school uses it to store things in or whatever. But that would be how I would approach it. You get a much better chance of getting a yes from somebody at the school board than you will getting a yes from somebody at the county. Most of the time, the county people are kind of butt heads, but the school board people are usually pretty cool, especially when you point out to them that you're going to carry off all the pieces of trash that you dig up that might otherwise hurt their lawn mowing equipment, stuff like that. I have convinced many a school board to let me dig on their property when they realize that I'm picking up all this aluminum can stuff and pieces of metal they could hit with the mower or the weed eater or something. They really like when you cleaning up stuff that can tear their stuff up. So, Great Sand Dunes 2014. Yeah, that's what I would do, because usually the public library is going to have plat maps, and they can kind of show you on the plat maps who the current owners are and when it was built, and you can learn a lot of history about it, and you can also see about the what was on the surrounding lands, because kids always tend to hang out on the land right next to the school before they go onto the school property. And there's a possibility of finding things on the adjacent property that kids dropped on their way to school. You just have to make sure that you're allowed to do on that property. That's why I said find out if it belongs to the school board. A lot of times they just close those, but they still belong to the school board. The school board usually is pretty good about letting people do that. William, that would be the last place I would check. City, a lot of times, have these convoluted rules that don't really pertain to properties, but they'll try to put them on those properties anyway to keep detectors off. And I'm going to tell you about one of them. The little town called Orlando, Florida. Not too far from where Mikey is. I'm going to tell you about Orlando. Orlando is in Orange County. You can metal detect in pretty much every park in Orange County. In fact, Orange County, you have to get a permit, but it lasts for life. And they will give you a list of all the parks with a map and everything. And there's only two or three that you cannot detect in, and it is noted on their brochure. Now, where you got to be real careful is going in and out of the city limits of Orlando. In the city limits, you cannot metal detect. And I mean, you really cannot metal detect. They will confiscate your equipment if they think you have found anything of value. They will sometimes arrest people. And if you try to get permission from them to metal detect within the city limits of Orlando, you're pretty much going to get told no, unless you tell them you want to shoot a movie. I wanted to go do a YouTube video at a park that I grew up by, just to go back to, this is where I was when I was a kid. And in order to be allowed to do that, the city of Orlando wanted me to fill out all this paperwork outlining the entire video like I was making some Hollywood movie, and pay $3,000. The cities, especially around where Mikey is, are not friendly to metal detectorists. That is the last people you want to ask. If you can't get permission from anybody else, then you go there. But in general, if it's still owned by the school board, that's who I would want to be talking to. It's a money grab, exactly. Orlando is a special place. And because everything around there has grown, the smaller places like Leesburg, where Mikey is there a name on this building, Mikey, of any kind? Does it say what school it used to be or anything like that? Because if you can get me that information, I know how to get online and find out who owns the property, and that would make it real easy for you. And you might have a better chance, being as you are a video student, of being able to get in there. But yeah, look on the building and see if there's any name on the building of any kind. You know, sometimes those old schools had like cornerstones or things like that. And if you can find the name of the building, oh, I have a safety vest and black rubber boots with orange trim on them. I also have a mosquito suit, which people think that's funny until they've been in Florida for a while. You want to go metal detecting in Florida in the summer, you can get chewed up by some skeeters. But yeah, I bought a vest on Amazon for not very much. And it's Lee School. Okay. So at the time it was probably Robert E. Lee High School. So I'll get online and see if I can. See, I used to work for Pinellas County, and all of those counties use pretty much the same computer systems for their uh, property tax rolls. So because it's not just a regular street, you know, it's an actual school, I should be able to find out who owns the property. And I know a lot of people. I lived between Leesburg and Mount Dora for a while. But yeah, I'll see if I can find out who owns it for you. I know how to get in those records. They're a matter of public record, but you just have to know how to get in there. It's not always the easiest. Well, that was the end of those. Done and done. Someday. And while I did not get anything for my national park book, I did accidentally find the Puerto Rico quarter for the statehood book. So now we've got one book. All it needs is one quarter. And then we got another one that only needs two or three. And then we'll have some books to give away again. So that's a good thing. I like that. Because I don't have a lot of stuff to give away anymore. I unfortunately, with all of this sickness thing, I had to sell a lot of stuff. Didn't want to, but well, I'm going to tell you something, Mikey, about GoPros. Um, a lot of people spend more money than they need to. Now, if you're going to be doing stuff with your GoPro, like diving underwater, you're going to have to buy the waterproof housing and all of that stuff. But if you're just going to be walking around metal detecting normal things, a lot of people spend way more money than they need to. They think they got to have the biggest, baddest, fastest one. And yeah, if you're doing motorcycle racing or something like that, yeah, you need that super high speed, all that stuff. You know what I'm using? And my my videos aren't too bad. I'm using two GoPro Hero 3s. I think they're up to like 14 or something now. I'm using threes because I don't need the high speed stuff. I can take mine underwater and I have a housing for it. It's been underwater before. Mine were given to me. Well, one of them was given to me because I was using my iPhone 5, I think it was, and my phone was overheating, so I couldn't do a very long video. And there's a channel called Iffy Signals, and they upgraded all their camera equipment and they sent me the GoPro 3 and a Canon PowerShot. I can't read the number on it, but it does still photos and movies, and I use that for my close-ups of my still items. And then I found another GoPro 3 at a yard sale, and I think I paid, it was like $5 or $10, something outrageously cheap, because yeah, see, for right now, you don't need to buy the highest end one there is. You're going to be walking, and you're going to be walking pretty slow. So it's not like something's going to get blurred because it ran past your scoop, you know. Um, Now, you can look on Facebook Marketplace or ask around on some of the channels that you're on. Hey, do any of you have older GoPros that work, but you're not using them anymore because you've upgraded, that you might, want to sell me for a few bucks so I can get started? I was very fortunate, and Iffy Signals gave me one because I was going to have to stop. It was killing my phone. Yeah. Well, like I said, my second one I got at a garage sale for, I think it was either $5 or $10, and it had the waterproof housing with it. Well, the batteries you can buy on Amazon. There's a one pretty good deal. The for the You have to make sure you get for the right number camera you have. Like I said, I have the Hero 3, but there's a pretty good deal on there where under $20 I get 3 or 4 of the batteries. They're rechargeable. I've invested in a charger. I've been using the same stuff since 2019. The main thing, you got to remember to charge your batteries. Batteries in GoPros do not last very long. So you will want to have I think I own 9, no, 10, because I bought 3 of the sets of 3. There was one good one in the one that Iffy Signals sent me. The one I got at the yard sale had a battery in it, but it was had been recharged so many times it just, I mean, it worked enough that I could see the camera worked, but the battery itself was toast. But I have 2 chargers, mostly because I lost one of them and bought another one, and then I found it, which is okay because that way I can be charging 6 of them at a time. Because, like I said, you will see a lot of times in my, especially my earlier videos, where I missed some really good stuff because my batteries went dead. But you don't, if you're not going to be doing super high speed stuff, if you're not going to be doing a lot of underwater, you don't need to buy the top of the line GoPro. If you're just going to be out there walking around, you can get the lower number models a lot cheaper to get you started and get you familiar with how the GoPro works. The features have not changed that much. Even the 3 has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and it's got pretty much everything I'm ever going to use, you know. And like I said, the batteries you can buy through Amazon for not too bad. Just make sure you get a charger. That's the one thing. I used to get so mad at myself. I'd get up and it'd be a nice day, and I'd think, oh boy, I'm going to go detect. And then I would realize that all the batteries for my GoPro were dead. But I still had the little Canon Power Shot, and I can make video with it. It does some pretty decent video. And then I also have a little Fuji camera that another friend gave me. Um, I mean, I would love to own all that fancy stuff, but you don't have to own it to get started. Like I said, I've been chugging along here since 2018, 2019. Started out using my iPhone. Now I have an assortment of stuff. The one thing I did buy, uh, that I'm glad I bought, was this kit that I found on Amazon that had every kind of attachment you could imagine for the GoPro. It had little uh, miniature tripods. It had the harness that goes around your chest and puts the camera in the middle of your chest. It had the harness thing that goes around your head so you can put the camera up on your head or on your hat. Had one put on your wrist. Had this little floaty thing that you could attach to it and put it in the water and just let it float around. Had all kinds of attachments in this kit. I think I paid $20 for the kit, and a lot of the things in there I will never use, but other people might. Like it had a thing in there that clamped onto motorcycle handlebar or bicycle handlebars, or there's just all kinds of attachments and gizmos that uh it just had it has more gizmos in it that I won't use a lot of them, but a lot of the things I do. I will tell you, Mikey, where I found my first silver uh, was actually on a school ground, but it wasn't an old school ground. The school was built where a cotton field had been. Deeger! I gotta get with Deej, find out all about her trip. She went to Gettysburg. She went all kinds of places. She been traveling. Uh, well, Mikey's got a detector, but he really wants to go over to that school. And I don't blame him. If I had a abandoned 1915 school that close to me, he's just trying to figure out how to get the permission. So I'm going to help him look up who owns that property now, and we're going to see if we can't get him pointed in the right direction. But my very first silver coin that I found in a empty field on a school ground out in Georgia, and it was a 1954 Canadian dime. Wasn't even an American coin. And then my second silver I found on my sister's farm, and it's about the only good thing I found on her farm. And it was a war nickel, a San Francisco war nickel, too, now that I think about it. My most recent silver I found down here at what I call Trash Park, and there's a 64 Kennedy. Who's calling me? Somebody in Bartow, Florida, and I don't know anybody in Bartow, Florida. So leave me a message. Um, but yeah, my first hunt of this year, I was in the kids' playground up at our local park. The park's over 100 years old, but we have hit that park so many times. But that particular day, I was playing with my sniper coil. I had finally gotten a chance to go out there and play with the little sniper coil. And I was just about to leave because I really wasn't finding much. Like I said, we've hit that part heavily. And I got a really odd signal. And I kept digging and digging and digging. And I had the pinpointer down there, and it was down in the hole 8 inches, and it was still beeping. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I'm about to give up. And I'm going to get my big shovel here. I'm going to take one big old scoop, and I'm going to say another 2 inches, because when I measured it, it was almost 9 inches down, and it was a 64 Kennedy. Now, I'm going to attribute that to the different coil, because I've been over that area a bunch of times. My friend Fig has been over it. His friend Tommy that works there at the rec center has been over it. You know, we have hunted that little playground out. But when I got the other two coils, that's a game changer. When you switch to a different coil, one will pick up things the other one, for whatever reason, does not. And so my first hunt of the year, I got, and it was a really nice 64 Kennedy. It wasn't even trashy. It was It is sweet. Heck, I got it right here. Let's get it out and I'll show you. I couldn't believe that I found it where I found it. I mean, it's not perfect, but who knows how long it's been in that playground, you know? But I was so happy because that was it's the first time I'd been hunting in months. And uh, so, so anyway, that was my decent find of that day. And the other thing that I found that day that was kind of cool, I think it's in this box. This is kind of a box of treasures. Uh, yeah, it was this little kid's ring, and it's just a bling ring. It's not, you know, not gold or anything, but it has a little turtle on it. And I just thought it was so cute because it had the little turtle. And I found the 50-cent piece, and then right after that, I found the turtle, and I decided, okay, I'm going home now. I was pretty tired by the time these little things, but it has a cute little turtle on. And these were from my first hunt of the year. And the stone in it kind of looks like it's like a fake opal, but it is a teeny tiny little kid's ring. But I just liked it because it had the little turtle on there. So anyway, Wednesday night I started going through all those bags because I don't want to haul a bunch of trash to Michigan, and I cannot find the SIM card out of my camera somehow while I was in the hospital. And, M3 could have thought it was a toy or somebody moved it or whatever. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go through these bags and show you the trash. And then I'm throwing it in this plastic bin over here and putting the good stuff back in the bags. Most of the bags have written on them where they were, or they have a date. Some of them don't have anything on them, and I don't know where and when, unless I remember off the top of my head. Like, there was one that I remember because I found a ring, and when I bent over to get the ring, I hit the dirt. That was when I got stuck out there and ended up not too long after that having that blood clot break loose in my leg. But so I remember, that ring specifically because that was like kind of the last thing I saw for a while that day. My dog and I have finally come to an understanding about my bed. I understand that he owns 95% of it, and the 5% I have, he can take whenever he wants. That's absolutely correct, Mark. It works that way with cats, too. It works that way with cats. So, anyway, I had like one of these great big banker's boxes, the big white boxes that they keep files in, stuffed to overflowing. And it's still not quite a third full. So, Wednesday night, we're going to try and finish that off. And what I'm going to do, if I don't find the uh, memory card for the camera, I can still use this footage to make some shorts of some of these things that I found that never got in the other videos. So, that being said, oh, and the other thing I've been doing is pulling the clad out. And I got this tank full of clad going here, and a big thing full of metal. But I got quite a bit of clad in here. We'll have fun looking through it. I did pull a few pieces out of it as we were going through. Like I did not put the 64 in there, and I did not put my Abraham Lincoln dollar coin in there. I did not put the Australian $2 coin in there. Couple of 3-4 rings, some tokens. Uh, I've tried to leave enough things in each of the plastic bags that if I do find the memory card and I see this find or that find, I can match them up and make a better video. But at least this way I'll have something. So Wednesday night, I'm gonna, like I said, the box is still about a half to a third full, and there's more bags in my car. So we were going back through, and there's some things I don't know what they are. So we were kind of playing the "Does anybody know what this is?" game. But when it's all done, when this box is empty, I'm gonna weigh the bin that I've been throwing all the canned slaw and the just pieces of lead and all of that. And we're going to have a contest and give away one of these pinpointers. I still have 4. So we're going to try and finish this box up on Wednesday night. And then we'll probably have like a couple of weeks. I'll show the box. I'm going to dump everything out of the box onto a cloth where you can try and guess how much it weighs, and we will also do a contest of some type, guessing how much clad is in the little tub. So yeah, I just happened to find that one today. And I didn't look at it. I just put it up here by the scope. So that's why just now I picked it up and stuck it under the scope to see what I was dealing with there. Oh, and then, like I said, I've been finding all kinds of strange things while packing to move and getting rid of things to move. And I found a jar. Now, if you don't live in the Midwest, you won't know what this is. But every time I go to like Illinois or Iowa or that area, I'm always smuggling home mustard. Not just any mustard. Boji's mustard. Boji's mustard is a whole special thing. You can't get it in the South. And I used to have some friends that were in a band, and they would always pick up a case of Boji's mustard and bring me a couple of bottles when they'd come back from the Midwest. But anyway, I found a bottle about the size of a Boji's mustard bottle full of 1982 pennies. I thought I was done sorting the copper from the zinc, but no, I found a whole new bottle. Jimmy LaCurry, hi honey. Thank you guys all so much for coming to see me. Please hit the like button and all of that good zippity doo dah. You need the 82D? You mean like the one that's I wish was sitting right there under my thing, but unfortunately it got peed on? I mean, it's got a pee on it. Yeah, I got to go through my penny albums. I haven't been through them for a while. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I think we did okay. We found some stuff for the albums, and we got to see some stuff. And I'm gonna have to go downtown. I got to get somebody to take me down there. 'Cause my post office box is due on the 1st, and I went to pay it online, and it offers you three options. You can pay for online. It says you can pay for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. Well, because I'm so close to moving now, I don't want to pay for 6 months because I don't think they're going to give me a refund. So I tried to pay for the 3 month, and it won't let the payment won't go through. So I'm gonna have to get somebody to take me downtown so I can go to the bank and get some more quarters because I can't go over to the car wash. It's a little too far, and my car's not running. If I got a car running, then I'll do that. But otherwise, I'll go to the bank and get some more coins for us to look at and go pay my P.O. box. But that's going to have to happen in the next couple of days. So, in the meantime, like I said, Wednesday night we will try and finish up these. Let me put the other camera on and I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick. Who is calling me? This is a local number. Hang on, guys. Let me see who this is. I'm back. Yippee. Alright, we're back. I'm getting a substitute tomorrow for my physical therapy instead of my regular guy, and that was her. And she was just clarifying some stuff. Well, M3's hiding. See if I can. I was gonna put that other camera on right before that lady called, and I don't really want to be on it, but if I do this right, I should be able to. Oops, that's the wrong hinky do. Scope web. Okay, let's see if we can. All the boxes you see, I was in the middle of packing to move when I fell off the bus and sprained my ankle. So there's just like, but there he is. He's got his back to us. He's seeping on part of the pile of boxes. But there he is in all of his glory. Now, this is the box that we've been taking all these bags out of. You want to get in there, Emmett? Huh? You want to get in? Oh, there's the handsome boy. There he is. Oh, you coming over? Can you come over? Come on, Bubba. Come on. No? Maybe? Says, Mom, this is a mess in here. You got this place all messed up, Mama. Oh, there's our bin full of trash so far out of the bags. Oh, he's leaving. But anyway, I still have in this box all these bags of things I found metal detecting. And they're just like random bags with this one's got an envelope inside of it. And it says Carroll County Recreation Park, Father's Day 2022. And I don't know what's in there, but there's a whole bunch of things like that. And we're going to find out what's in there. There's my greenhouse back in the corner. I got to get get it out of there. And there's the question mark and Mysterian's wall of shame. But anyway, uh, that's why my house looks so crazy. Is I'm packing things that are going to be donated, things that I'm selling on eBay and Marketplace and anywhere else that I can figure out to get rid of some of this stuff. Uh, but like I said, I was in the middle of doing that when I had that accident, and now I pretty much have to stay off my foot. Yeah, M3's been helping a whole bunch. He likes to scratch on cardboard boxes. So he has ripped several of them open of those bankers boxes. So I'm not getting any more bankers boxes. I'm only getting plastic totes because he can't rip them open. At least not yet. So, uh, well, a lot of stuff I've already gone through. I just don't have any way to take it where it needs to go. And I've got a list of people from my church that are going to help me, but I have to wait until I can put more weight on my ankle, which is probably going to be maybe another week. The swelling is going down, but it's not going down quite as fast as we'd like it to. Uh, and I've also been taking stuff out to the lobby of the building. We're not really supposed to do this, but we wait until the office manager leaves, and we'll carry things out to the lobby or to the laundry room and just leave them, with a sign on them that says free or uh, $5, see apartment 3, stuff like that. They won't let us have yard sales anymore, so we just kind of circumvent the system. But this really nice TV tray table, wooden table, one of my neighbors put in the laundry room as a freebie, and I am using it for now, but when I move, I'll put it back out there and give it away. I just need something because I'm still trying to take the stuff off the old computer and put it on the new one. So I needed somewhere to set the monitor for the old computer. So, yeah, we just do that. But yeah, it's a mess in here right now. But a lot of it probably maybe this weekend. Depends on what the nurse says on Thursday. Uh, then I'm taking a lot of it over to the, um, we have a thrift store here that also runs a food bank. They sell what you donate and they buy food for people that need food. So I'm going to try to get one of my volunteers to, around the corner where you couldn't see, there's a great big stack of things that are going over into the donation for the food pantry. They sell things at a very reasonable price and they buy food and they give out food boxes. So I'm all for that. But yeah, I've got a tremendous amount of things to go through, and I found something last night that made me cry because I thought I had lost it. My dad got not one but two Purple Hearts when he was in World War II. Now, the first one he actually physically got. He got it pinned on and the whole bit. My dad, they actually lost my dad for a while. Couldn't find him. And he never got the rest of his medals back. They cut his uniform off of him. He was in Guadalcanal. And when he got injured, they cut his uniform off of him. And I actually got to hear this story from someone that was in my dad's unit. My dad was in kind of a special unit called the 182nd Americal Division. But anyway, when they cut his uniform off, he never got his medals back. And it took me years. I'm going to say it was maybe 2003, 2004. I finally got all my dad's medals. And of course, the one we laughed the loudest about was my dad getting a good conduct medal. That was absolutely hysterically funny if you knew my dad, because my dad liked to fight and argue and was a total pain in the butt. So the very idea that he got a good conduct medal, we all thought was quite funny. But apparently, he managed to hang on to the original Purple Heart that he was given when they airlifted him out of Bougainville and Guadalcanal. And I did not realize how different a World War II Purple Heart is compared to like a Vietnam era or later Purple Heart. They look the same, but they're not the same. The quality of the metal in a World War II Purple Heart is far superior to the later ones. And the later ones are also a little bit smaller. Well, up until my mom passed away, I thought the only, I didn't know my dad had this other one, the original one. And I was taking a bunch of coffee mugs off a shelf when I was clearing my mom's house, and I found my dad's Purple Heart in one of them. And so I went and got a jewelry case for it because it didn't have its original case. And I had put it in this jewelry case, and then I couldn't find it. I mean, for decades, I could not find it. And I was going through a box of things from my mom's house, and I still have things from my mom's house I haven't finished going through. And I found my dad's original Purple Heart last night. So I wanted to see what the difference, because I knew it was not the same as the one that they sent me later on with his full set of medals. And by the way, my dad has some pretty substantial medals. In fact, um, there was a form in his records that he got the Bronze Star. They put him in for the Silver Star, and they had sent this letter back to his commanding officer telling the commanding officer to put him in for the Congressional Medal of Honor, but his commanding officer was killed before that ever happened. What I did find, however, with some of my dad's other things, was a letter from his commanding officer's wife, um, telling my dad she was sorry that he didn't get put in for the medals he deserved, and that her husband had called my dad the fightingest man in the U.S. Army. So that letter is priceless. But I wish he could have gotten the medals he deserved. But he did get his Bronze Star, and I have that, and a bunch of other medals. I've got a whole box full of my dad's medals. But to find his original Purple Heart, and I looked up last night to see what the differences were, and like I said, the quality and types of metals that are used are different. The weight of the award is different. The whole thing is just a way nicer presentation. And I was shocked. I was reading this thing, and got to the end of it, and it said, so y'all want to keep an eye out for the older ones. It said that a World War II Purple Heart is worth between $350 and $400. Now, obviously, I'm not going to sell my daddy's, but I had no earthly idea. But it's only the World War II and before. The newer ones were kind of like our money, more cheaply made. It's kind of like going from a a copper penny to a zinkin. But anyway, yeah, I found that last night. So I have been turning up some interesting things in the packing. That one got me though. I kind of lost it when I found that because I thought that was long, long gone. So anyway, come back on Wednesday night and we're going to go through. Oh, let me see if I can put this other camera back on. I'll show you something else we've been pulling out of those plastic bags is this, all that so far is detected coins. The better ones are not in there. That's just your average run of the mill, not too pretty. And then of course we're going to end up in the great debate on whether or not you should clean coins or not. But I mean, I got a lot of stuff like that. And like I said, we still have almost half of that big white box there. So we're going to try to finish that up Wednesday night. There should be at least a couple more rings floating around in there. I don't know if they're junkers or keepers, but we're going to get all that stuff at least logged in on the computer. So if I don't find the card from the camera, I can make some shorts and stuff out of what we rescue out of the bags. So yeah, it took me so long to get my dad's military records. They kept telling me they were burned in a fire and blah, blah, blah. Uh, I helped this gentleman in St. Louis with some genealogy research, and it just happened to turn out that he worked at the archives. And he said, look, he says, they tell people that all the time, and a lot of times it's not true. He said, do you have your dad's service number? Because back then, they didn't use your social security number. You had a separate service number. And I said, yeah, I have my dad's uh, discharge papers, but what I'm really looking for is his medical records and that kind of stuff, because I have so many weird diseases and different things. Um, so this gentleman that I helped with some of his family history uh, made a couple phone calls, and all of a sudden one day I went out to the mailbox, and there was this great big box, like a medium sized priority mail box. There was one of those, and then a great big envelope the same size. The box had all my dad's medals in the presentation boxes, and the envelope had all my dad's records from the moment he went in the military till his discharge papers and everything in between. A couple things in there didn't really want to read, but but that was dad. My dad was a staff sergeant. He got busted down to private twice in 2.5 years and still came out a staff sergeant. They'd bust him down, and then a few days later they'd realize he was the only one that could do his job, and they'd give him his rank back. So anyway, yeah, I just lucked out that I ended up doing genealogy work for somebody that worked there, because they would have kept telling me that his records were burned or they couldn't find them or this or that. Funniest thing, right after that guy got on them, I mean, I'm going to say it was maybe a month, I got everything. So my big project is there's several people in the family that all want them and I can't give them all to everybody. So basically I'm making a display of the medals and making a like a photo album that has each one and the part from his records where it indicates when and where he was awarded this or that medal. And I'm making like a book, and then anybody in the family that wants it, wants a copy of it can have it. But I'm actually going to give the medals to my oldest nephew. For one thing, he's a history professor, but for another thing, he was in the Army. So, and that's making some people mad because he doesn't have any kids, but he will make a proper decision on which kid to pass them down to next. I have the medals and my brother has his flag. So, but yeah, finding that Purple Heart last night, that was a biggie. Oh, well, the rest of the medals, I know exactly where they are. They're right here under my desk. My hand is on the box they are in. It was just that one original Purple Heart that he was awarded in 1943 that I couldn't find. And I thought maybe one of the grandkids or somebody had gotten that mom had passed it on to somebody. I didn't know until I found it in that coffee cup after my mom had passed away, and I ordered the little presentation case for it. And from that house I moved into a motorhome, so everything got put in storage and all mixed around. So to discover it again last night, I have not seen that since, I'm going to say, 2013 or 2014. So it's been missing almost 10 years. So I was real happy when I found it. And I am going to take it downtown to a jeweler because the pin on the back is messed up and it won't stay in the presentation box correctly. So I'm going to have him fix that, and then I'm going to put it in the box with all the rest of them. So, and then somewhere buried in my storage unit is a box that has my dad's military records in it. I was more concerned about the medals because a lot of the records I scanned in already. They're on one or another of my computers. All right, I'm gonna go. I got to take my meds. I've got nurse coming tomorrow. I've got PT coming tomorrow. I have my home health aide coming tomorrow. Uh, and hopefully, if the weather permits, I'll be able to go outside and try to get my car running. So I'm gonna head off. Excuse me. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. We don't really ever have too much of a plan for shows. I just have a general idea, And sometimes we get off on completely different topics, but I think that's good sometimes. That's how we learn things. I, I don't know what this is. There's an envelope here. Oh, I know what this is. I got to get a hold of Mr. Michael Lyman. He stamped these pennies. They're really cool. He does this himself. That one's got a unicorn. Oh no. But this is the one I want to see if I can get another one. Because I want to make earrings out of this one with the treble clef on it. Being a music person. But yeah, he stamped those. So I've got them over here to remind me to ask him if I can get a second music one. All right. Good night, everybody. Behave yourselves. You even got to see M3. That was spectacular. Bye, everybody.